This is the MTN Noon News.
And good afternoon. Thanks for joining us on the Noon News. I'm Andrea Lutz. Happening now, the nearly $2 trillion COVID relief bill is up for debate in Congress, and that bill could pass the House by this week. But it's a different story in the Senate. As of late last night, not one Republican publicly said they'd back the deal. A decision from the Senate is expected today. And still up for debate is whether a hike will be made for the federal minimum wage. Republicans argue the deal right now is too costly. In Bozeman, there are 3 finalists in the running to become the next chief of police. Jim Baumstark is a deputy chief of the Asheville, North Carolina Police Department with more than 30 years of experience. Eric Paulson is the current deputy chief at the Santa Ana, California Police Department. And that third candidate, well, that's the current Bozeman interim police chief, Jim Velkamp. Velkamp has lived in the Gallatin Valley for most of his life. All of the candidates will appear March 18th for a virtual community forum. Students in Kalispell will leave their masks on as the school board recently votes to keep a mask mandate in place for all students and staff. Well, Superintendent Micah Hill recommended the existing mandate, and so did Flathead Public Health Officer Joe Russell. 136 staff members district-wide have already tested positive for the virus, in addition to nearly 400 students. Big Fork, Plains, and Thompson Falls are all among schools in northwest Montana that recently moved to remove their mask mandates. Butte Central High will return to remote learning for the rest of the week due to many students in quarantine. Officials say only half the student body attended in person before that switch to remote learning. Some teachers are also out due to sickness. The Butte Central president says the school simply doesn't have enough substitute teachers to cover all of the classes. A real-world test of Pfizer's COVID vaccine seems to be backing up the drug maker's original data for how effective it is. The results come from a mass vaccination campaign in Israel, where more than 500,000 people received the Pfizer vaccine. Over 2 shots, the vaccine was 92% effective at preventing severe cases of COVID. After 1 shot, 62%. And it was also 72% effective at preventing death. A doctor with the Mayo Clinic says these results are better than expected. Moderna says it's made enough of a new COVID variant vaccine to start testing it on people. Studies show current vaccines give little protection against a variant that's from South Africa. Moderna says the clinical trial won't only test the new vaccine, but also a booster. Now that company is looking for volunteers. New at noon, results for the drawing permits for the Smith River are now available. Permits are drawn as a part of a lottery system for recreators to get on the Smith. Those results are now online at the Fish, Wildlife and Parks website, but successful applicants will also get an email. Applicants who were unsuccessful, though, can reapply in a super permit drawing starting April 1st for $5. One super permit winner can launch at any date. And the Smith River only offers one public put-in and take-out on that 59-mile stretch. So if you are interested in heading out to a Forest Service campground or a rental cabin this summer, you might have to dig a little deeper to cover those recreational fees. Both the Lolo and Bitterroot National Forests announced an increase in fees effective this summer. In some cases, fees will double at some of those more popular locations. While cabin rental fees will see a considerable increase, additional sites will also be added, and those include the Big Hole Lookout on the Lolo National Forest and the historic Lost Horse Guard Station in the Bitterroot. The Forest Service says 95% of the fee revenue stays with the agency to be spent on local operations and improvements. A Helena man is hoping to be Texas bound in the next couple of days with a trailer full of items for those impacted by the devastating winter storms. Ken McLean is partnering with Safeway to collect emergency supplies for people in Texas, items that include toiletries, non-perishable food, diapers, and water. Safeway is also collecting monetary donations, but once his trailer is full, that's when he'll head to Texas. Our congressman helped connect McLean with the Texas congressman to make sure items do get dispersed.
We need to help our neighbors, and whether it's Texas, whether it's Florida, we're all Americans, they're still our neighbors.
If we get donations after the trailer's already departed, we'll figure out a way to get it down there.
We'll stockpile more and make another trip if we have to.
McLean hopes this inspires other Montana communities to send support to Texas and help those families in need. In court news, the man accused of leading police on a multi-county car chase last week did appear in court. This is 35-year-old John Binkley. He's charged with attempted deliberate homicide after allegedly shooting at a sheriff's detective during the chase. The judge set his bond at $750,000, and his arrest near Garrison shut down the interstate for hours. His next court appearance is scheduled for sometime in March. And one of the 3 suspects in a high-profile death of a Great Falls boy is pleading guilty. Rasco Birdtail is charged with assault on a minor by accountability and tampering with evidence. 5-year-old Antonio Renova was found dead in December of 2019. His case garnered statewide attention. Antonio's parents, Emilio and Stephanie Byington, also are facing charges. They're scheduled to go to trial in August. Yellowstone County is slowly getting back to normal, and the first sign of that is at Metro Park. Right now, Class A basketball tournaments are being played at the arena, and the Billings RV and Boat Show is bringing camping enthusiasts into the Expo Center. In May, officials hope to entice customers with 2 big events, a rodeo and the Toby Keith concert. Metro staff say safety will remain a top priority.
But it's not going to be 8,500 people in the arena. Won't occur for that show. Same kind of thing with PBR. We're working with them to establish an appropriate amount of attendance for the arena in order to keep people safe.
And the home improvement show is scheduled for next week at Metro Park. The family of a Kalispell boy who died in January want to honor their son with a specially designed wrestling mat at the upcoming state wrestling tournament at Flathead High School. Maverick's dad, Logan, says one of his son's first true loves was the sport of wrestling. So Logan purchased a specially designed mat to honor Maverick. However, the Montana High School Association has a strict rule against outside recognition.
Wife and I just felt like to have something like that will be around for 30 years. There's no better way to honor Maverick like that is to have kids go out there and do what Maverick loved to do.
But after purchasing the $1,200 mat, the Bench family then learned that the Montana High School Association won't allow it as a way to keep events as neutral as possible. We do have more ahead on today's new news, including this. The FBI says scammers are targeting Montanans through a new scam, and that is targeting a specific type of company. We'll have details on that. But first, Miller Robson's back up with a look at that statewide weather forecast.